Thank you, EABP, for inviting me. I'm so honored to be here with you. I've been very worried about the weather that we're having here. We've had storms the past few days, and I got on here while it was still dark, and I haven't been off because I wanted to make sure I didn't get lost. So I'm hoping that everything works technically. The title of this Congress just thrilled me when I first read it, Sense and Sensations. Wow, the fullness of experiencing in-body psychotherapy. And I thought, well, experiencing the fullness in life, in everything, in anything. And it is my great honor to be able to bring this to you and introduce to you a bit of the way you might say it all started. I know so many of us in this field work in different ways, bringing our clients to experience themselves in different ways. But way back, about 100 years ago, the work of Elsa Gindler was very influential on the beginning of body psychotherapy through her student Elsa Lindenberg to Wilhelm Reich. And it is so thrilling to share this with you today as I understand it and have experienced it for the last, 55 years or something. And I was thrilled. Mariana, thank you for your talk this morning. I think you started at the beginning and said everything begins with sensations. Yeah. Hey, hurrah. Yes. And the ability to interact with ourselves, with others, but starting with ourselves. It all starts by us meeting ourselves and paying attention to what's happening. And that's what we do in utero as babies and as we continue growing up with others. And I'd like to start by asking you, what you are experiencing right now.
Judyth, would you like?
Yes.
Sorry, would you like people to actually respond?
Well, right now, thank you for asking that, Carmen. Right now, just respond to yourselves. And then in a while, I will ask you for comments. But
because I've asked people to mute their microphones for the moment.
Oh, I see. That's why I got muted too. Okay, yeah. Great. Thank you. Yeah. Thinking about the breakout room, when I was in the group this morning and we were swaying back and forth, I realized that I was really feeling the swaying, but what else was I feeling? Was I feeling my back, as Mariana mentioned that so many times, so many of us don't feel the back. What else were you feeling, or what were you feeling? I'm thinking that we really feel relatively little of ourselves. And I hope that we can take this time right now to take a pause, take a breath, and pay more attention to what we are experiencing, what our sensations and senses are. And when I say that, I wonder what comes to you. Does your organism bring you an answer? And how does it feel? Are you aware at all of your breathing? And if you are aware of your breath, how do you experience it? Where in you do you experience your breath? Can you take one of your hands and bring it to touch your breath somewhere in your body where you are experiencing the movement of your breath? How does it feel to you as you also touch it from the outside? Did your breathing change when you touched yourself? And now, as you let your hand come away, does your breathing change again? Did you notice how your hand felt before you touched yourself? And whether or not you did then, how does your hand feel now? How does your breathing feel now? Could you now take your other hand and bring it to another spot on you where you are feeling the movement of your breath? The same spot or a different spot? Where do you experience the movement of your breathing? And how is the movement of your breathing changed by your touch or not changed? And if you still feeling the movement of your breathing in this spot, can you also feel it in the first spot you touched? Is there a difference? And now, as you take your hand away this time, how do you experience your breathing now? Can you still feel those two spots that you touched and your breathing there? Has it changed? And how do your hands feel now? Does one hand feel different from the other hand? Can you still feel breathing in your hands? And what happens now if you take both of your hands and bring them to lightly touch each other? What happens as they get closer to each other and then finally touch? How do you experience your breath now? And again, where in you do you experience your breath? Taking your hands apart or leaving them in contact, whichever feels best to you. Where else in you are you experiencing your breath? I think most of us are sitting now. I think a lot of us do a lot of sitting these days, facing a computer. And I wonder how we breathe and how we experience our breath as we sit here. Do you have any experience of breathing in your back? We have these days become so much facing the computer. What about our back? Can you feel any breathing in your back? If you can feel breathing in your back, or even if you can't, how about if you just take a great big inhalation and let it out? And is there any movement or any breathing that you could feel along your backside? And I see a lot of movement. Please, if you want to change your posture or want to move in any way, please allow yourself to follow your impulse, your instinct. Move as you wish. And notice how your breath is with you. And how can you be with your breath? Please feel free to stand up and move around. And even if you want to lie down, do follow your instincts. And if something I suggest to you doesn't make sense, don't follow me, do follow what your organism is saying to you. But how about right now, if we take our both hands and reach them up, whether you're standing or walking or anything, reach them up. And did you feel the movement through the air as you reached your hands? And if you move your hands around a little bit, can you feel the air in between your fingers, against your palm? And stretching out maybe one arm and maybe the other, or maybe both, however you want to. Stretching out to the side. How does this change your breathing? And when you want to, when it feels right, to allow your hands to come back down, resting at your sides, in your lap, whatever feels best to you. And as you sit here or stand here or even lie, where else in you do you feel the movement of your breath? How about along your sides, underneath your arm, and down to your hips? Is there any movement of your breathing there? You might want to bring your hands and touch the side, or you might just want to stretch out with your arms and reach out. But focusing on your sides, under your armpit, down to your hips. Is there breathing? And I'm seeing a lot of wonderful yawns. Yawning is fantastic. And so once more, stretching up with your arms as you wish, one, the other, or both. And then out to the side, one side and the other, and even both. And reaching forward. As far as you go. And then backward too. How is your back responding? How is your breath responding? And coming back to resting if it feels right to you. If you want to continue to move, please do, following your own impulses. And wherever you are, standing, lying, sitting, if it feels right to you, can you bring the palms of your hands and bring them to touch your face? Just a light touch. How do you respond to your own touch on your own face? This may be a challenge. You may want to stay there, but when you are ready and want to take your hands away, how do you respond? And if you want to come back and touch maybe your forehead, maybe your eyes, maybe your neck, please find the place that your hands, you want to touch yourself. And how is it you want to be touched? Your hands are touching somewhere on your face or your head. How does your stomach feel? Your lower back, your buttocks where you're sitting, or your hips where you're standing. Is there a connection? And if you're ready to let your hands come away from touching you, just feeling how you are right now. How is your breathing right now? Is it different than it was when we first started and I asked you that? If you are ready for another touch now, may I suggest that you bring both of your hands to your head, either side of your head. And how is this touch for you now? Do you feel any breathing in your head? Or in your hands? Is there any breathing in your shoulders that have been moved to bring your hands up to your head? While you are touching your head with your hands, can you also feel the movement of your breathing in your belly? And then before your hands get tired, whenever you want to, letting your hands come away. Yawning, however. Is there any place in you now where you feel no movement from your breath? And if so, wherever that is, can you bring your hand to touch that area? That might be a hard one. I touched my knee because I didn't feel any breathing there, and now I feel breathing there. So maybe I'll look for another spot. Any place in you where you don't feel the movement of your breath. And if there are one or two places, please feel free to change your touch and see what happens. And coming back to our heads, may I invite you to bring one hand to your forehead and another hand to the back of your head. Where in you do you feel any movement of your breath? And as we stay with it for a while, does anything change? And when you feel like it, bringing your hands back down to resting. And I wonder what would happen if you exchange your hands and put the hand that was on your forehead to your occiput and exchange. And how different is your touch here now? Your shoulders may feel different. Your back may feel different. Maybe your whole way of sitting or standing is different. How is it in you right now? And then again, relieving your touch. With all of this focus on breathing, I wonder what you are aware of inside your mouth. Or in your nose. These passages where air comes in and out. How do you receive the air and let it go? And if you take your face and rather than looking forward, just turn to look upward, what happens to your neck and your shoulders and your back? What happens to your breathing? What happens in your buttocks as you change the position of your head? How do you feel your weight going down through you now. And slowly bringing your head back to what we consider normal. How do you balance it on your shoulders? How do you balance it on your hips? On your feet? Now, in a minute, I'm going to invite all of us who have been sitting most of this time to come to standing. Take your time. Notice what happens, where you start moving first, and how you change your weight, your balance, your breathing. Take your time, but gradually moving up to standing. We do this so many times in a day. I wonder what we notice as we do it. If you're like me, not much. But this time was a massive lot of changing. So how does this standing feel to you now? How do you find your balance without the help of another instrument? Here you are on your feet. You might want to change. What's happened with your breathing? How do you receive support? Before from the chair, now from the floor or whatever, from your legs, your hips, your back. And do you feel the pull of gravity? It really connects you with the floor, with the earth. Where is your breathing now? Is it in the same places that you felt when we first started? Or is it different? Did anything change in your face as you came to standing? Has anything changed in your back? And where in you do you feel your breathing now? Now I invite you to take your weight and shift it all to stand on one leg. Just notice what happens, how you accommodate this. Are you feeling heavier or lighter? Can your face still be soft, or do you feel you have to hold on with muscles, with your hands, whatever? And now coming back to standing on both feet, again, notice what changes occur. And how does your standing feel now? And now let's shift our weight to the other leg. And is standing on this side different from standing on the other side? Is your breathing different on this side? Your sense of balance? Is there anything your toes are having to do to help you stand here now? Or maybe your fingers? Or maybe your jaw? Maybe your belly? Any place else? And then as you feel ready, slowly come back to standing on both legs again and just noticing what happens. Maybe there was some holding, you let go. Maybe there's some holding you've taken up. Maybe your breathing has changed. I'm going to suggest that we shift to our first side again. And this is something we can do more easily because we are all on Zoom and mute, but let some sounds come out of you. Let your exhalation have its voice. So as you shift your weight to the first side, or whatever it is with you. Does that make a difference in your standing? Or as you're standing on that one leg, allowing both arms to come up on that side. And again, let your breath have its voice. And if there's any movement in your arms or your torso, do allow it. Feeling gravity as you come down, still standing on that one side. Is there anything else you want to do before we come away from this side? And coming back to center. And going now to the second side of standing. And again, feeling it. If you remember how it was before, are you different now? And again, reaching with your arms, really emphasizing. And your voice, which is your breath. Ah. Ah. And coming back down as you wish. And coming back to standing on both feet. And maybe feeling the weight on both of your feet, just lifting your shoulders away from gravity, away from your feet, but feeling the length in you and letting them rest again. Did you feel your back when we did that? Let's do it again. Lifting up, feeling the movement in your back and your front and your sides, and maybe going out if you want. And coming back. And is there anything else you want to do before we come back to sitting? Please allow yourself. Please do it. Whether it's breath or movement. I need one more of these. And when you're ready to come back to sitting, or if you want to stay standing or lying, I'm wondering how you experience yourself now. How your breathing is now. How you are now. If there's any place that you haven't touched enough or I haven't suggested, please feel free to continue to do whatever it is you might want to. But I'm also aware of time and I would like to open up the whatever so that any of you who want to share your experience, I'd be very interested in hearing from you.
So if people name themselves in chat, I will just name you and then you can speak out. Liddy.
Carmen, are you going to call the names?
Yeah, I just named them. Liddy.
Mhm.
Sorry, I was talking while I was still on mute. What I said was that I feel 3D again instead of 2D. While I'm experiencing a lot of warmth everywhere. And also, I think my head and feet are in balance again. I lost that a bit during the day. And yeah, basically, that's it.
Thank you. I like the 3D rather than 2D. Yeah. Thank you.
And the next person is Eric.
Yes. I'm feeling very good by sensing myself, mostly all the way through. I like to experience new things that I don't think about, like when the breath comes into your mouth and in through your nose. How do you receive it and so on? So there are some, of course, there's still many exciting new ways that I can pay attention, but I'm very satisfied with myself, and that's a new thing to be so satisfied. So I wanted to share that.
Great. That's wonderful.
Thomas.
I am pulsating from the knees upwards. And I liked your words. Now feel your breathing also from outside, putting the hand. This was very beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Julie? Check
Hello.
that your microphone.
I think that's working, I hope. Yes. Hello. Thank you, Judith. Hello, everyone. I found that very beautiful and very helpful. And I noticed in myself at the beginning something that's familiar when I've been online a lot, that sense of, oh, I don't really want to move. I'm a bit sort of uncomfortable. I don't really quite want to do it. And then I go into it and it just starts to transform. And I love the way, Judyth, you took us into that so gently in that lived exploration. That was beautiful. And I had an immense amount of heat move in my system, and I feel much more here rather than in that two-dimensional being online way. I really needed that. Thank you. It was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Vladimir. Make sure your microphone's on.
It was strange feeling when I started to touch my body. From the beginning, I didn't feel anything. Then in a moment, also I felt myself, oh, I feel comfortable in my chair. I love it. But after it came, I'm a little bit stuck. And then I like this feeling of touch, and I realized I am started to breathe a little bit deeper. And then when I closed my eyes, came the imaginations. My old friend, I have forgotten him for all day, and he looked before to start touching him as sad dog, stuck dog. And after I started touching him, I felt him as a happy dog. You know these two images, probably from Disney movies, a sad dog and happy dog. It was very interesting feeling, and I continued to touch my body and to breathe with pleasure more and more. Thank you.
Thank you. As you're talking, I'm thinking of that phrase that I've never really connected. We'll be in touch, or I'll be in touch with you. In English, we use that so much, but I've never really thought of it in this work. But even more than being in touch with whomever, how about being in touch with myself? You know, that's where it has to start.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that.
And
hearing your journey.
What came in my mind was how we in our culture say, I and my body. It sounds strange. I am my body. But we are so much disconnected, and we do not know it.
Yeah. Right. And I must say that in this work of sensory awareness, my teacher, Charlotte Selber, would never use the word body, nor mind. Yeah, it was yourself. How do you feel? So even body, and I have a long history of talking about that. That's even limiting. How about all of us? How are you right now?
Carmen, I would like to say something, but I can't write the name. Christoph.
Yes, Chris. Okay, and then and Karen, I will come to you after Christoph.
Okay, Judyth, I liked it very much, and especially the way you can slow down. I think this is the most important thing when we work with the clients, to slow down. Yeah? To give the time to feel. And I always say to patients, to feel, we need time to feel. We need a lot of time. And so we need to slow down. And in the same moment, all your experience, through all your experience, there were present all this, what I was thinking on, remembering all these things of the day, parallel to this slowing down and feeling the different parts of breathing. So I liked it really a lot. And I thought that this word, in English, it is felt body. This is really the felt body.
Feeling, yes. Being, yes.
So
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and the next person is Karen.
Thank you. Just say thank you very much. I'm very touched by the way you teach us again, and it moves me really, and it's very, very helpful. Just be aware of my own breath and be aware of myself. And I really like the way the time, what already said before. So the time you take, it's wonderful. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, when we're working with clients, if we don't do our work, as we all know, we're not going to really be able to open the client to it. So if I'm not in touch with myself, if I don't know that I'm breathing, or that helps me a lot, you know, even breathing in my back, then I can bring it or suggest it or hold the space for my client. If I'm not doing it, I'm not going to be able to do very well by the other person either. So consider it such a great gift. And thank you very much for noting it and sharing it with me.
Oh, Sheila.
I just, just thank you very much. And Judyth, brilliant.
Wow.
As usual, and really nice to be connected. And the feeling that I was going through with all this, it was kind of really feeling the pulsation from the beginning, how it was, and how at the end really feeling much more the pulsation in tune with myself and as a whole person. And that was very, very beautiful to feel, because with everything that's happening, and with earlier on as well, we were kind of really much more in the thinking, in the connecting and contacting like that. But with this kind of really, really the pulsation, feeling in tune, was very special. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? If I
think we have a person raising a hand. I think Zoe is raising a hand.
okay, Zoe,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Judyth. I liked very much to be reminded be reminded at the steps in between. For example, there was a moment that there was a sentence like, what is happening with your breath in your shoulders as they touch your head? So that was, it was beautiful to have this rhythm and this time to become aware of each step. It's not one movement, there are phases in the movement. And yeah, I like that very much, this time, to have this time to sense. Thank you.
Thank you. It's quite a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And most of us go, Yeah,
so exactly. Yeah.
And rarely in this society, this time, do we take the time.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's quite a gift.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hello. Maybe you've overseen me in the chat because I doubled the name Thomas, and so yeah.
Okay, yes, you've just come up. Okay, Thomas, go ahead.
No problem. I'd like to share a little magic experience because there's on one side, most of your techniques are pretty familiar to me, which I appreciate to recognize this in your offer. But there was more than that because of like the arrangement of your exercise. It hits a deep experience in myself, because yesterday I visited a lecture in systemic theory, and so we had the order to draw little drawings about our themes. And look at this here. This was so I had to work with pain points and loads on my shoulder, and what came out at the end was this here. And now you can see what's familiar for you. Yeah. So I experienced this again, but very, very much in my body. And this yesterday it was brain stuff, and today it was the body layer, and this was a great gift for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Reconnection. Reconnection.
Yes. And I must admit that I could never do this again because this isn't planned. In fact, it's not an exercise that I know. I am working the same as you are with your client in your office. I'm feeling and experiencing it. So it's always different. It's always an exploration or an experience. So thank you.
Lovely. Lovely. The next person is Ilse. Your microphone, Ilse.
Sorry. It was a haptic experience in self-regulation, and I loved it. I must say it's really great. It's you do voluntary something, and then comes the response of the body, you know, and then kind of starts to regulate. And yeah, I appreciate this work very much, and I thank you very much for this hour of sensory awareness. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ilse. Judyth, I'm aware we have about 5 minutes left. So I don't know whether you want to say something in closing.
I see there's another person.
Do you? Okay, great. Someone must have just jumped in. Ginger?
Ginger?
Here I am. I'll be quick.
Ginger Clark.
Can you hear me now? Okay. It was wonderful to make a sound. And it made standing on one foot so much easier just with that sound. So, and the other thing was I don't think I ever feel my heartbeat unless I'm afraid or something, but somewhere in there, suddenly I felt my heart going boom, boom, boom. But I couldn't remember what Mariana, I think it was in Mariana's class, somebody said, if you can feel your own heartbeat, it means something good or something healthy. And I figure I've got 2.5 years before I'm 80, maybe I'm going to make it, you know? So it may be a very good sign. So thank you very much. And it's wonderful to see you again. It's been so many years.
It has been. Well, actually, it was 2 years ago in Berlin. I last saw you.
Yeah, but I mean, the first time was a long time ago.
Oh boy, really, really. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else? Or any questions in the next, 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
Yeah, we've got 3 minutes.
You know what? Okay, then 3 minutes. If there's no one who wants to say anything, there is something I would like to share about Elsa Gindler, who, as I said in the beginning, I consider really started it all. And in the handbook of the magnificent handbook that was out, you know, it's chapter 4. She's the mother of body psychotherapy, along with Reich being the father of body psychotherapy. But she was trained in gymnastics. And there was a point after she had been very ill and healed herself, really, she decided she didn't want to teach people this beautiful movement anymore, these exercises. She wanted to help people find their own beautiful movement, their own ways of being. And that's what this work is about. So it can't be an exercise. I can't plan it. I'm you know, taking it off from you and giving it back to you, and we're sharing. So we're all being in touch with each other, and that's what we do with our clients too, isn't it? So I just wanted to honor that and honor you and Carmen and Liddy. Thank you so much for asking me and inviting me.
It was my joy, Judyth. It was my joy to ask you. That's the only way I can say it. I don't want to put many words into this space, so I just want to thank everybody for being here today.